Good morning. How's it going? Welcome back to another day here. We're going to keep working on, sorry about that. We're going to keep working on rethinking our representation for the auto tiler. This is the full representation when we thought about it in terms of individual tiles, like entire tiles, like cubes. We're going to try a representation that's more based around faces. Macarit, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. You're having a great day so far. So yeah, we're going to rethink this because this got out of control. And we basically ended up needing one of these. I mean, it fit the form, but this basically describes the outline, the possible combination of outlines. So it's like, breaks down to this. These are all the different possible tile outlines. It's just a sheet. And so the original way we figured that out, or we did that, was we just made one of these for each breakdown of the face, which was not a great way to do it because these are all the possible. So we basically had 16 of those 512 by 512 textures, which is fine from like a logical, like it would have been, we could have worked with that, but from a asset creation standpoint, it would have been insane. Because we basically would have had to make a new one of these anytime we came up with a different face combination. So we're going to try it a little differently. We're going to break things down a little further into individual faces, which is a lot easier because then we only have to worry about the 16 specific face iterations. And we can have the outlines built into it. And we can even bake in variety. So we could have like 4 different panels for this, 4 different panels for this, etc. We could have variations of panels and find room for them in the texture atlas. At the moment, we're not going to worry about that. We're going to actually change this. I'm going to go back to just having these arranged like so. There. We could either have all the walls on a single texture map, or we could break them up a little further. Kind of torn. I kind of want to break them up in case we want some variety there as well. Get rid of that layer, it's not doing anything. So I don't mind making a source ID for each wall material. So we're just gonna lay these out in a cube. We're giving all this padding so that we can have the positioning be the same. Since we're basically gonna need 3 different tile map layers to draw a single tile object, like a single cube, which is expensive, but it's gonna be a lot easier to manage all this material. So just get rid of that. Bring this canvas size down to, I think, this. Oh, not even. Really? Oh, no, that's right. It's just in the wrong spot. Hide the background, and this is an example of like a wall tile sheet we're going to use. So this will be interesting. The real question is whether we just have a single face and we just draw them, or we just mirror them. I think that's the way we'll do it, just to simplify things so we only have to draw stuff once. Real question is whether I have it. I don't know why I don't like this. I don't like looking at this, the X face. And considering it's incredibly arbitrary, I think we're just going to have the default be the Y face. For some reason, that's more pleasing to me. I don't know why. Huh, we had a bit of encoding lag there. Seems over. But this is a new PC, so I'm trying to be a little sensitive of stuff like that. So we'll save this. Actually, like another layer on top, and let's just put the Z-axis floors here. Actually, I want these to be different files, huh? So we'll get rid of that. So we're gonna save this. Let's save this wall tiles. I'm gonna say middle. What is this? This is outer hall, probably. Outer hall wall tiles. So we're gonna call it. And we just iterate through the colors. Colors here. The middle hall wall tiles. This is a lot simpler. It's going to be more complicated to combine it all and actually draw stuff. But the asset creation part is going to be a lot easier because we just need to come up with different faces. So I think we're happy with this as an alternative. Make these assets real quick, and then we'll probably spend today just working on the logic of it. Inner hall, wall tiles. Sorry for the late start, by the way. Kind of stayed up too late. Playing a little too much Baldur's Gate, you know. Kind of enjoying my new PC a little too much. But we're still building back our momentum after taking a week off, so it'll take us a little while to get there. Okay, now we need the floor version of this. One interesting thing. So here's an interesting thing about if we do this mirrored. We need to mirror the logic too, because it means the borders will be the opposite. So if like this goes borders on every side, no border on the right, no border on the left, no border on either side. If we mirror it, the logic for these middle tiles changes. Right? Yeah. It's interesting. I still think we want to do that. Just because if it gets us the maximum possible number of combinations. We also can have additional layers of like decoration if we want. We don't have to put every piece of detail on these back walls, which I think is important. So let's make another 128 by 128 here. Palette. Kind of reorganized my file system a little bit now that I have multiple PCs that are active. Kind of got everything that's not in the project file in like a mirrored Google Drive. Seems good. This is XZ axis floors. It's kind of redundant, but get a grid going. (32 by 16 seems good. Oh, interesting. So the floors. I guess that is z-axis floors, because we're also going to need y-axis floors, because floors have depth, they have thickness. But we can reuse this for the top parts here, which is cool. Let's grab this just as the basis here. We're gonna need a much smaller space for this. Yeah, we are. This is like hardly anything. Okay, that's interesting. So we're actually gonna need a much smaller canvas here. It's just gonna be 64 by 64. Since there are way less combinations for this that we have to worry about. Oh, that was too many. We'll start with, what are we doing here? We start with the right. Okay, we'll do the same thing here. I feel like we probably shouldn't start with the right. We should probably start with the left. I understand why I did it that way, though. Which one is this? Oh, this is the middle hull. Middle hull floor tile. So we're encoding and streaming in 4K over on YouTube. Seems to be working mostly. Just keeping an eye on this encoding lag. It's only 1%, which seems fine. And it probably only happened when we were starting up, mostly. I wasn't really paying attention. Probably should. Alright, let's iterate through this combination. So we got... This is for inner. Oh, wait, no, it's not. This is... Forgot I used different colors for the tops than I do for the sides, which I think is reasonable. I think it adds a little something. Since most of the light sources tend to be coming from above. And this one is outer. Okay, what am I going to call these? Like, short walls? I don't know. Because they're part of the floor, technically. Like, deck. I already kind of used deck as a concept, so I don't really want to do that. Oh, why did I save this with the background on? That's fine. It's whatever. Convert to background. Grab the other ones. Made a background and then I forgot to convert to the background. Convert it to a background. So let's look at all of these. I really want to get past this phase and get to coding the logic for this stuff. Start to see the behavior of the auto tiler. Not what I want. Give me those floor tiles. Oops. We need to name these something slightly different. I wonder if I can set a default palette. Oh, save palette as preset or save palette as default. I should do that. So I'm constantly going back and changing this manually. Kind of wasting time. This is our low saturation palette for background stuff. We have a high saturation palette for foreground stuff. They're pretty primitive. I need to do a lot more work on them. But they're just simple ramps with 9 colors in the ramp, which is 9 is a lot, but I have this sinking suspicion we're gonna need to do a lot of lighting manually, like baking in the lighting. These are the y-axis floors. That grid going again. I made this too big. They do want to trim the outside. Yeah, okay, we are. Then we grab like this. We might end up using the same z-axis thing here. We might actually, what we might want to do is change the offset. We can do offset and padding stuff so that we don't actually have to bake the extra space into the sheet. Right? We can just introduce padding and offsets. So that way we can use the same sheet for, or the same little atlas for the floor and the walls, I think. So we don't actually have to, I don't think we actually have to bake the distance in here. We can just set them up that way, in which case this is a lot easier. Although this one's a little more awkward because these are not, these are awkwardly sized. Be like up here. Let's try doing it that way. Save space. This ends up being kind of an awkward size, but that's okay. Right, then left, then both. Middle, hall, floor, tiles. I don't know what to call this. Maybe deck. No, floor, wall, floor tiles. We're just gonna say floor tiles, tile sides. We're gonna call that. Call it that. Not amazing, but maybe we want all of this to be on the same tile atlas. I don't know. We'll think about combining all of that. I'm kind of preoccupied with making it easy to create these assets. Which maybe I'm unreasonably so. Maybe that's like, maybe I'm putting too much effort into that part. But if I'm going to be creating these assets for years, I want the process to be, I want the formats to be as good as they can be for me. And potentially for others who might end up doing this stuff. Like modders and stuff. All right, we got an ad in a couple of minutes. I'm gonna take a quick break while that ad is running. Try to finish my breakfast, which I'm notoriously bad at doing. back here. Forget about these folders. Oh, I did the classic thing. I made all these files and then I didn't export any of them. So we'll do that before we hit the break. Actually, we want to reformat these, don't we? We want to pack them in a little tighter here. Oh, not the background. We probably could pack these all into one atlas and then still use different source IDs. It's probably the best thing to do. Let's try that. We'll do that after we come back to from the break. Because I would love for each ship material set to be like one file. Like one big atlas that we then cut up and interpret. What do we want size-wise for that probably? Let's just start huge and then we'll size down as we need it. I haven't done a lot of this large-scale asset creation, so... Or at least I haven't been in charge of, you know, determining the formats, so... Getting a little carried away, maybe. But it's okay. I keep repeating this more to tell myself than to tell you. So, appreciate you indulging me in this. Alright, we got ads. I'll be back in 2 minutes. Alright, we're back. So we're going to try packing everything into a single atlas for now. Put them on different layers, though. How about that? I don't know. It's kind of an argument. Tiles. We're not going to put them on layers. Because there's no real distinction. The way we're doing this now, there's really no distinction between a floor tile and a wall tile, which is pretty weird. I mean, at least as far as, like, the tops. The tops are all the same. So I guess I could just call them that. I could call them, like, tops. Whatever. Who cares? Let's grab the middle. Let's grab some of the walls. Let's just do something. And we'll start by just lining these up, I think. We need a grid. Actually, no, we don't. We don't need a grid. We're going to pack them. We're going to really pack them in here. Maybe we don't need to do because space is really not at a premium. God's help me if I end up making a little art tool in the game where, like, you can paint an individual face and then it packs the atlas for you. That'd be really ridiculous. We'll see. Let's try to channel Bernardo here. Let's try to focus on getting to the point where we can make a gameplay prototype, like a proper gameplay prototype. Let's not get too bogged down in tools. All right, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna have them all packed in like that, which is not that big. It's fine. So this one's the outer one. Okay, let's do the middle one next. Excuse me. Oh, I copied the whole layer. That's what happened. You know, it would probably be easier, instead of doing it this way, let's just copy down this and then recolor it. It's way easier than what I was about to try to do. You just need the color. Oh, but we need to do continuous. Why didn't that work? I think that might be too dark. But I guess these are supposed to be entombed walls, so I think for now it's okay. Entombed is in, like, completely covered up. Shouldn't need to save that. I already did that one. I need the inner. Let's do it again. Coffee here, or it gets cold. We gotta do these. Should we do these first? Probably. Maybe we do these last. Yeah. Might rearrange these a little bit, but let's just get them in there. I think I like laying them out just horizontally. It's gonna make the indexing logic easier. A little weird with this set, but who cares? Probably a better way to pack this. That's it. I don't know why I was making such a big deal about making these as separate files. Kind of stupid. Do we even want to maybe move these over? Let's see what we're working with in terms of size. So it doesn't need to be more than 256. And how tall does it need to be? 28. So if I move them over, I can probably fit them in here with the 128. Not that it really matters. But we might as well make use of the space, right? Something like that. Yeah, and that fits. Fits pretty reasonably. I call this default ship tile atlas. Now it's one file instead of a bajillion files. So good for us, making it one file. Now I just gotta clean everything up. It's insanity. Clean up all the crazy shit I did last time. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Get rid of a bunch of this. We really need to clean this stuff up. There's a ton of things in this folder that we don't use. But let's not do that right now, in case we end up needing this. Hey, Cubus, ahoy. How's it going? I think we're finally done making the little art assets for our initial attempt at this thing. We're gonna use a single atlas of all the different faces. Yeah, look how much simpler this is. The complexity is gonna be in the assembly logic, though. Let's go look at that. Let's look at our default ship tile atlas here. So we'll get rid of a lot of this, except doors. So we'll keep the door tiles. Oh, I need to turn the background off when I export this. I can tell my posture is suffering when I'm not able to see over the microphone. I'm like, what's this on the other side of the microphone? What's that say? All right. How's space? Tricky. Yeah, posture. Who needs posture? Oh, I just stretched, but I'll give one more. Double stretch. Yeah. When I redid this setup, what is FTL like? Hey, full bong rip. How's it hanging? I'll show you a little bit of FTL. Let's dox myself on Steam. I don't know why Steam takes forever to start up. Let's just forget about that and let's do it like this. There it is. FTL is like a 2D top-down RTS or like tactical roguelike. It's technically is real-time, but it's like a real-time tactics game. You're basically moving little crew members around, putting out fires, manning your ship. It's kind of like a Star Trek simulator. Yeah, it's a good name. But yeah, we're kind of trying to do something similar. This is a classic game from about 11, 12 years ago, which is shocking. But yeah, this is kind of like a top-down 2D version of like a what is it like to be the captain of a starship. And so we're emulating this to a big extent. We're making some changes. We're doing kind of a more 3D version, and we're adding a little bit more positionality is the dream. But fundamentally, it's very similar. It's like imagining what it's like to be the captain of a starship. But we're going for more of like a isometric 3D kind of deal with like multiple decks stacked on top of each other. Oh, Godot Discord, awesome! You're around there, full bong rip. That Discord is too overwhelming to me for me to spend any significant amount of time there. There's way too much going on. Yeah, FTL is I'd recommend trying it. It's usually on sale for like $2 nowadays. It's a worthy $2, I'll say that. Your full bong rip, your beautiful brain is trying to convert a Godot 3 tutorial to use it as Godot 4 code. Interesting. Yeah, Cubist, most people just peek in, drop a question, and then leave when it's answered. Yeah, that's fair. I have a couple more local Discords that I'm in that are like pretty Godot focused, so I tend to like bring my questions there. All right. I feel like there's no real problem making these separate textures. So this is gonna be 0. So the ID 0, and this is gonna be the wall portion. So we'll do I have to delete these one by one? I guess let's lay them out first. So maybe I do need the space, the empty space. For some reason, I thought I could do separation. Oh, maybe I can. Yeah, okay, I can do separation in here. So the texture region for the top area is 32 by 64. You didn't know pure suffering was interesting? I think it is. It's 16 by 32. Hey, two nerdy nerds. How's it going? It's not 32 pixels tall. It's not, is it? It's like 28. Did someone say suffering? Yeah, you're right. You're here. You immediately pop in. I realized I was being unfair to you earlier when I was calling you the devil on my shoulder. You're more like the angel on my shoulder. Okay, so this doesn't work exactly the way I was hoping it would. I was hoping it would push these out. Maybe this is okay, though. Maybe this is okay. We won't need all of these. Why not both? Well, you need to start giving me spicier suggestions then than just build a gameplay prototype. Yeah, that's Cubus. I admit I have a problem with that sometimes too, keeping track of people's multiple various aliases in different places. Have you thought about going 3D? I did. I did think about going 3D. I even prototyped it back during GDC. I did like a short hike style where it was all 3D, but it was like down-resed into a very pixelated look. And it was cool. I just didn't believe that I would be able to communicate much in terms of character or have a lot of control over the art pipeline. I need all of these. Give me all of these. Of course you do, full bong rep. You also have full dupe hit and full pen blink. Is that what they call it? Blink? Okay. That's what I know. So we want to move the texture origin now. Where are we going to move it to? Probably right around here. We're kind of experimenting with using the same texture atlas and making multiple different source IDs with different texture origins as an experiment. That doesn't seem right. So if this was a full cube, where would its center be? It would be here. So it would be 8. 10. 8, 10. Okay, I think that would be, I think that's right. We'll see if that's right. So these are the tiles we want for the walls. So this is going to be, we'll rename this to tile to walls. How about wall tiles? Oh my god, everyone with the stretching. I can only stretch so many times. I hope y'all are happy seeing my pit stains, because that's what you get. That's what you get with a stretch. With the stretch redeem. But I appreciate it, Full Bong Rep. Thank you very much. Keeping me lithe. Your head hurts? You know, I could probably guess what the cause is. So maybe give yourself a hydrate. Redeem yourself a hydrate. Oh, it's Godot. Your head hurts because of Godot, right? Okay, fair enough. It's your 12th day in Godot and you haven't used 2D yet? Really? Oh, I appreciate the follow, Full Bong Rip. Thank you very much. Oh, and the hydrate. I just had a coffee, but that doesn't count. So I'll grab my water cup. Oh, you got a YouTube channel. Okay. I'm gonna bookmark this. I'm gonna check this out. What do you do on your YouTube channel? Copying this link, popping this in a tab over here for later, so I don't forget. Oh, you're making a bong FPS. Okay, cool. Oh, 3D. Oh, this looks like a... Oh, this looks cool. This looks kind of like a... What do they call them? Boomer shooters? Doomer shooters? Classic Doom-like kind of... That's rad. All right, I'm getting distracted. Let's open this atlas again. Call this ID 1. All right, so we're gonna try this. It's gonna be interesting. We're gonna have the walls in here twice, or not the walls, the roofs. So in one case, the same tile is gonna be considered a roof, and then like a, not a roof, but like, you know, the top of a tile, and another times it's gonna be considered the top of a floor. So we're gonna add the same one here twice, and I think that's interesting. How large is it though? It's just 8. Okay, but we need a margin to get this synced up here. There we go. I need to figure out a better way of like making tiles. This is really tedious. I don't want to do it like this. Why can't I select a bunch of them? I mean, I guess my mistake was to have it auto make tiles for me. The movement's like Titanfall. Interesting. You want it to be like Mirror's Edge instead. No bongs were harmed in the making of this Doomer shooter. One can hope. Oh, God, this music. If this is my nemesis, I'm going to be so upset. It is. Rosella Clementi. It's like my actual nemesis. Get out of here. How many times do you have to dislike an artist before Pretzel Rocks gets the hint? I don't want to go through and delete these all this many times. I'm going to try this again. We're going to add this atlas one more time. Add this atlas here. No, we're not going to automatically make tiles. That was a huge mistake. I'm not going to do it. Okay, now we can say, so we can make a margin. Get this synced up here. We want these 12. The real question is now, where is the texture origin? Texture origin is going to be way off. It's going to be like, it's going to be the equivalent of here. So this is 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24. So it's going to be 24. That's pretty wild. But that will allow it to appear as the top of a tile. So 24. And we're doing this so that we can draw all three faces, the left face, right face, and top face of a cube from the same point. So they'll all have the same, they'll all be considered part of the same tile. Even though in this case it's going to be way higher up because it's going to be the top of that tile. It's probably not very easy to explain, but I swear this makes sense. This is, I'm going to call these roof tiles. They aren't really roof tiles. They're like ceiling. They're not really like ceilings either. Wall tops. Wall tile tops. I think using the word tile here is redundant. We're in a tile set. Wall tops. That's what we're going to call it. We'll call this wall sides. Oh, thanks for calling out the ads. Sorry, I never noticed when ads start. I need like an audio cue or something. Because all the notifications are like way over in my peripheral vision. I'm never going to notice. All right, so these are the floor sides. The margins, or the regions are correct. We just need the margins like that. And then for these ones, they don't need a texture offset or texture origin offset because these are the floors. All right, we're being efficient. Now we're cooking. Now we're optimizing what I want to optimize, which is having one tile atlas that we can use for multiple purposes. Oh, this is also not the right. I'm doing the tile sides, so not these. Oops. Never mind. We'll just rename these floor tops. Give it a different ID. Oh, 3 already exists, huh? You're gonna be... You'll be 4 for now, I guess. ID, playing the dance of the various IDs is really annoying. There we go. So you're... Can you be 4? Can you be tile ID 4? No, because you decided you're 4 even though I named you 5. Yeah, messing with tile IDs is not easy. Why does this keep switching back between being 5 and 4? Just be something else. Let me change your tile ID. This keeps changing back to 4. I guess it's trying to compress them. 0, 1. Let's make 2. Or let's just make this 2. And then try to make this 4. Do you want to be 4? No, because you're going to keep compressing down. I hate this so much. I hate playing with tile set IDs. Does not want to cooperate. Alright, so what about these? These are weird. So these texture regions are 16. And these are 12. Alright. I wonder what happens when I mirror these. It'll probably pivot around. Oh, pivot's the wrong word, but it'll be mirrored across wherever the tile origin is, right? Or wherever the texture origin is. I hope that's the case. So then these, their texture origin is over here. And then down here. Over one more. 8 by 2. Oh my god, I can't. Okay, there we go. Wait, why are these both ID 3? B4. Be ID 4, please. Okay, whatever. Unhappy. Hopefully this will eventually register the correct ID. Somehow all our time is gone, pretty much. Maybe got another 20 minutes. Let's see if we can re-implement the basic editor using this. That is going to be complicated. So what we actually have to do first is rebuild our layer structure. So let's do that. Because now we need multiple layers for each tile object. Yips. Components. Ship deck. That's what we want to change. So right now we have a floor layer. Let's change these. A floor layer, a wall layer, a door layer, and a decoration layer. We actually need so we need like, so we'll duplicate this twice. So this will be floor layer X, floor layer Y, floor layer Z, a little concerned about how expensive it's going to be to reset these. Layer X, layer Y, layer Z, okay, there, things like Z indexing and stuff is consistent. I want the Z to draw over the X and the Y, so I think we can achieve that just by maybe we want to do that with some Z indexing. We'll have to try it. We'll have to look at it and see. Each of you have a script, which is not what I want. Well, I guess it is what I want to an extent. Might want to push some logic down a layer, or up a layer, I guess. Do we want another intermediate object here? I don't think so. Like a node 2D that holds all 3 floor layers. I think that's more in direction than we need. Because we want them to kind of behave similarly to these layers that don't have multiple. Although maybe not. Maybe the only exception to this is the door layer. Maybe that's the only one that's like... Because the door layer is almost just descriptive. And in fact, the door layer is going to be replaced by door objects, pretty much. Like door nodes. I don't know. I don't know. Let's do it like this for now. See if we can get away with without having a kind of another middle management type here. I would rather avoid that if possible. So let's just start with something easy. Got tile brushes here. start with something easy as I just start like ripping out the code, having to like adjust this system, because this system so far has been built entirely to handle a tile as being its two sides and its top part. Like it was a unified thing, like is this whole thing, like this was a tile. And now we've broken it into its three constituent parts. So now we need to add some logic to be able to assemble these whenever we want. Maybe we want to tell the parent of all these layers, which is the deck, about this tile and say this tile exists. There's a tile here, it's this whole thing, and then have it figure out, or have its children figure out what exact tile face to put there. It's probably how we want to handle it, so that we don't have to tell the layers exactly what to do. We can kind of, they can figure it out on their own using some of this logic that we have up here. You can push some of that information down. So what will that involve? So we've got these tile brushes. These are, so why is it 0, 2, 3? Why is there no 1? Suspicious. So this is the tile ID. The tile ID is source ID, Atlas coords, alternative tile. So, oh no. The tile brushes are just, where are they? They're just floor, wall, door. Oh, and it's 0, 2, 3 for a reason. I get it. I get it. So we actually don't want to do this as tile IDs anymore. We want to do it as, we want to just do it like this. We want to do it as an enum tile floor, wall, door. So the tile brush only does that. I guess the tile brush is supposed to map those things. Brush. Brush. Okay, so the brush is null, floor, wall, door. Did the floor be first then? In the tile set? Did I kind of order this incorrectly? Because it doesn't totally matter. Hey, Connectus. How's it going? How are you doing this fine day? I think we do want the floors to be before the walls, like conceptually. Doing well. Made some progress on your project again, which is awesome. Nice. That's really great to hear. We took a bit of a break. We didn't stream it all last week. I built a new computer, and it took forever getting everything set back up again. So we came back yesterday. So we've also kind of taken a bit of a break, and we're just starting to make some project progress. We've kind of been rethinking the paradigm for drawing our ships out procedurally. We kind of took the basic tile unit here, which is like the three faces, the X face, Y face, X face, Y face, and Z face, and we're kind of broken them up into their individual components. So we're trying to rethink our logic to handle that. So our system so far treated each cube as like a single thing, and now we need to add a layer of an additional layer to the end of that of assembling these cubes out of the individual faces. Just because the combinatorics was getting out of control. Here's like a description of the different possible tile combinations that you can have. It got wild. Specs. It's a CPU. Yeah, the combinatorics get out of control. So we've broken that up so that we don't have to worry about the combinatorics from, like, at least from an asset creation standpoint. We just make the parts, and then the combinatoric part will happen in code instead of happening at the asset creation level, which makes sense. But yeah, specs. We got the CPU is an AMD 7950 X3D, which is okay. It's been pretty good on Baldur's Gate 3 so far. And it's for GPU, we've got a 4080 Super, so pretty high end. Hoping this is going to last a long time. Okay, how do I want to order these? We were doing floor wall doors, so do I want the tops first or the sides first? I kind of want the tops first. I wish it was easier to drag these around and it would just figure out the ID swapping. But at the moment, I have to, like, do shenanigans to get this to work. Play this whole game of musical chairs here. Oh wait, you don't want to be 0. We want the floors to be first. So we want you to be 0. We want you to be 1. You to be 2. I want you to be 3. Okay, and that's it. That I'm happy with. So it goes to the tops and then the sides for the floors, and then tops and then the sides for the walls, and then the doors. These also aren't door tiles. They're door... Well, no, these are tiles, huh? Call them nodes. Door nodes. Yeah, I'm happy. I haven't built a PC since before the pandemic. The last time I needed a PC in, like, 2021 or something, I ended up just getting a laptop. And that's what I've been using ever since. So it's cool having a proper desktop again. All right, so now we need to recreate our functionality of being able to build these tiles. The partitions are going to matter a lot because that's something we've already set up, is a system that can tell whether a space is inside or outside. So we need to respect that. We now have a bunch more layers here. We need to change these layer numbers. So you're 0. You're 1. You're 2. You're 3. 5. 6. 7. So that's a lot more layers we're dealing with because we've split the floors out into 3 layers for each face, 1 layer for each face. So what else knows about that? Okay, layer count. This layer count is hard coded. I probably shouldn't do that. It should probably be like a count your children, figure out how many of them are tile map layers, and then that's your layer count. It's probably how I should do that. Luckily, I made this super modular, so we shouldn't have to do a lot of changes outside of this ship deck area, and it should just work. Let me get the ship deck script open, actually. Sign, you worked way too much. You can't figure out how to read a simple sentence. Time to make some food and chill. We'll be watching. Yeah, definitely chill. That happens to me all the time. I chalk it up to streamer brain, where someone says a sentence and I like have to repeat it 3 times before I'm like, I have an idea of what they mean. Yeah, I have a problem with that for sure. But yeah, take it easy. Appreciate the lurk. Appreciate you hanging out. So we've got source tile ID over here. This is something we need to worry about. Well, this is not something we're going to do at this level anymore. This is happening at the level of the ship editor. Well, maybe it's not getting the source tile ID. What it is getting the tile type. I don't know. We're going to have to rethink a lot of this. This is a pretty big change. We'll see how much of it we can shove down as far as possible so that we don't have to worry about it at an abstract at a higher level. But right now we're not really doing much abstraction. So it's kind of touching everything. It was the Bungie news rumor they were posting in a community we're in, talking about a new IP. It's going to be made by a new studio, so they're assisting them, it seems. Yeah, it seems like a misuse of Bungie if they're just helping out another studio make a new IP. I don't know. I would think they are beyond that sort of thing. I would think that they're at the point where other studios should be helping them do something. I mean, they're Bungie. Yeah, I don't know. It's a good question. But they are, Bungie is owned by somebody, I believe, so like by another organization. I'm not sure who. Or did they spin off and go independent again? They're part of Sony now, right? They're still working on Destiny and Marathon, though. Still 6, they didn't make a proper Marathon game. Would have loved another one. Played the original Marathon games, and they were quite fun. I didn't really play Marathon, but I'm very aware of Destiny. I have some friends that still play Destiny very regularly. That was kind of an incredible thing they did, making that. I was reading about that in a book recently. I was reading, I think it was Blood, Sweat, and Pixels. They talked about Destiny. All right. Well, we're running out of time for today. I'm starting to see the various areas in which this tile as a three-piece concept thing is going to need to go. Because here in the ship editor, we're directly painting tiles. That cannot be how we do this going forward. Like, we can't just be directly painting tiles. We need to obfuscate it a little bit. We need to. Yeah, we're setting cells directly. We aren't going to be able to do it this way. We aren't going to be directly setting cells in a tile map layer. That's going to go away. We're going to need to have like a dictionary or an array that just represents the tiles as like the cubic volumes, and say this volume has an object there. And then that is going to need to be handled at a lower level by the auto tiler. And so I guess the question is the auto tiler going to be this higher order thing, or is the auto tiler going to be something that, is it going to be a top-down auto tiler or like a bottom-up auto tiler? Like how much of it is going to be handled at a low level by the individual tile map layer? I would like to handle a lot of it that way. It's a question of how we're gonna be able to do that. I might need to do some design work tonight on rearranging this system. I know for sure we were headed in the right direction, because this was a horrible nightmarescape. I mean, I was a little proud that I was able to represent all of the relevant information as a single byte. But still, you don't want 256 by 200, or you don't want 256 options, you know, for every single material surface. So it helped me to visualize this and diagram it out, but I'm glad we're not actually going to do it this way, because this is insane. But I'm a very visual thinker, so if I don't have something like this, I have a hard time reasoning about what we're doing. So it's probably going to be a bit of a short stream today, but that's because I slept in, because I played too much Baldur's Gate last night. So I'm going to try to do better tonight. Try to spend a night planning and looking at this code so that we can come in tomorrow and just start cutting it apart and splicing in new pieces. Baldur's Gate is awesome. Baldur's Gate is awesome. There are a number of games that I've kind of avoided playing because I didn't think my laptop could handle it, you know, very well. And Baldur's Gate was at the top of the list, so that was the first thing I installed. And I'm enjoying it a lot. Oh, you slept in late too, but you were sick yesterday? Well, that's a good excuse. That's a much better excuse than I got carried away in Baldur's Gate 3. Ship tiles. So this dictionary is going to help us a lot. The value is maybe not a tile ID. We might actually turn this into a set. Or maybe we have an enum that is like the type. I guess the layer number... Oh, man. Yeah, I was doing a lot of stuff by layer number. I've got ads, so I'm just chilling for a second while I think about this. You need to refactor some code next week. Feels bad, man. I like refactoring, but yeah, it can be a huge pain. I've never been like a clean code kind of guy, really. I've been very like, quote unquote, like close to the metal. Like I like to use less abstraction and be more direct about what I'm saying. But there are times when I'm like, man, I wish I had abstracted this concept a little better, because then I could just swap out the implementation and nothing would care as long as like the contract was fulfilled. So I was very performance minded when I was in Unity, because I was doing a lot of ECS dot stuff, and that was like, you want to be very conscious about the shape of the data. You want to be very concerned with the performance of everything, like, because that's how you get the iteration speed. But now that I'm in Godot, where Godot is very much like we are OOP, like, I'm thinking I should maybe change my ways a little bit and just embrace that, embrace the flexibility and the abstraction, the ease of abstraction over like a very data-oriented design. I don't know. You're a too clean code guy? Okay, that's not bad. It's fun to think about the abstractions. Yeah, yeah. I spent so much time like getting out of that mindset that it's a little daunting to like try to get back to it, but I think it'll just help. I think I'll have an easier time choosing when to abstract versus when to be direct. But yeah, I I need to introduce some abstractions at the ship editor layer. We can't just be directly applying tile set, like tile set cell stuff at this level. That's not going to be how this works. And I was using the tile map layer number as a shorthand for the object type. So tile layer number 0 would be like floors and 1 would be walls. But like we can't do that now because we have multiple layers that represent the floors. So I need to change my implementation. We're probably just going to do an enum or something. And push the more tile set cell stuff down closer to the tile map layer itself, if not directly on the tile map layer. And then so that tempts me to think that the auto tiler should be like a bottom-up auto tiler sort of deal, where it is mostly concerned with implementing the specific faces that it needs for the given layer, rather than something that goes from the top down. I don't know. It's interesting. Okay, I see what the second half of your thought, Cubus. You're like, it's fun to think about the abstractions, but it's not always that much fun to implement the abstractions. That's true. That is true. That is true. Connectus, clean code makes it nicer to work in. Also, the current code is great for a demo for the next meeting, but it's horrible in the long run. Ah, I see. Yeah, that's the trade-off. Normally, you always design it first, implement it later. You had some catching up to do. I think it very much depends. Like, for a game jam game, you're not going to spend any time designing it, like hardly any, right? It's just implementation, and you pay for it later if you try to like keep developing the jam game. But this is a very long form game, so I'm very much trying to design it ahead of time, which is why we spent days and weeks coming up with the asset pipeline that we wanted to use for this stuff. Cubus, you've gotten better. 2 or 3 duplications of code is fine, especially if they don't even change much. Yeah, exactly. I think it's fine if for code to know exactly what it's doing sometimes, or for something to know exactly what it's operating on without any layers of abstraction. I think it's your, like Uncle Bob says, like your sense of code smell changes over time. And code smell is contextual. It's not that bad to refactor. It takes a bit of time to clean it up more. Yeah. It's one of those things, it's like, if it was more abstract, refactoring would be easy because the code is self-contained and you can just change an implementation without having to change the whole thing. Refactoring really hurts when it's very direct, when everything is very direct and very, like, as close to the actual thing that's changing as possible. Then everything seems to touch everything else, and it becomes a disaster. Cubus, you still have that one jam game waiting to be developed further. Life has calmed down a bit now, so we'll see. I know. My last Ludum Dare game is basically like I have a remixed, or I'm calling it like a remastered version of it, and I haven't touched it in 2 months, and all it needs is a few bugs to get fixed and maybe some tutorialization, and it's done. And I'm like, I just can't bring myself to do it because it's not a pleasant place to work in, because it's a jam game, so like the code sucks, everything is a disaster. It's held together with like duct tape. But I need to do it just so I can finish it and get it out. Get a nice version of it out. Oh, well, this has been a really nice discussion right at the end here. Yeah, 2 months is dangerous. I'm just going to cut whatever bugs that are left. Like, I'm having some weird selection bugs. I'm just going to get rid of some of the different stuff. Like, if something's not working at this point, it's just going to get cut. I'm not trying to fix anything anymore, really. Like, if I can afford to cut it, I'm going to cut it. And I'm just going to... What I really need is some in-game tutorialization, and then I think it's done. And I guess I need to record some more music and stuff. But that stuff I like doing. I just need to make time for it. Yeah, just ship it. There you go, Cubus. That's it. Ship it now. Yeah. Okay. Well, I know what I need to do tonight. I need to do some architecting in my notebook here tonight. And then tomorrow we're going to come back and we're going to start totally rewriting this code. and it is going to be good. But this is all the time we have for today. So I appreciate you both hanging out. I hope you both take it easy for the rest of the day here. And yeah, I gotta get to work. I gotta get to the work that pays me. Not the real work, not the work we're doing every morning, every weekday morning. Beat is all right architecture-wise, at least the code you wrote. Yeah, at least you code the wrote, and the stuff that from the last day. Yeah. No, I think jams, you get an excuse. But I think if you want to continue developing a jam game after the jam, I think you need to do what Togi's said, and you just start over. You just throw out all the code, and you just rewrite the whole thing from scratch if you want to keep developing a jam game as into like a full game. I think that's the only way to do it. That's what I'm going to do next time. But yeah. Thanks, Cubus. Thanks, Connectus. Bernardo, everyone else that showed up today. Yeah. I will see y'all next time. Bye.